We are here with UFC welterweight Johny Hendricks, who is getting set to return to the cage here in Montreal. UFC 158 coming up on Saturday night. And Johnny, the last time we spoke to you, I don't know if you remember, me and my cameraman here running into you in the hotel after your big win at UFC 154. And we spoke to you about the big win over Martin Kampmann, and you said, I will not be fighting again till I get that title shot. What happened afterwards?
Another fight happened. I was disappointed, but you have to move forward. I mean, I can't sit out too long, or you get overlooked. If I'm getting overlooked for this one, if I sit out, what could happen then? So I was like, all right, I gotta keep in the fans' eyes. Keep in their minds, and so just move forward.
You are clearly head and shoulders to many people the guy that should be in this spot on Saturday night challenging George St-Pierre, and instead you've got a really tough opponent now in Carlos Condit. First of all, tell us a bit about the transition here as you were preparing for Jake Ellenberger, and then all of a sudden with the Roy McDonald injury, now you're fighting Carlos Condit, a guy that many see as you're equal, and going into this fight, a lot to lose and little to gain maybe for you.
Yeah, it is, but that's also fun. It's exciting to know that I am the #1 contender, and I do have a lot to lose. And I couldn't wait for that, that kind of pressure. For some reason, I do better like that. And the transition of Jake Ellenberg to Carlos Condit was hard, because I knew Jake was going to have to do a lot of wrestling and all those kind of things, where Carlos Condit, he doesn't care. He doesn't care because he's good off his back or on his feet. So, that's a huge mind switch. But, hey, that's what makes camps fun is, those kind of upgrades, or just opponent swaps is always fun, just because, you get stuck in training for somebody so much that whenever you get a chance to switch, it's sort of fun.
Now, your last time here back in November, because they usually, they'll separate all the fighters. Did you spend a lot of time with Condit in that week leading up to 154, or were you guys kind of separate that week?
We were separate, but after the GSP fight, after he was done, he came into the locker room I was in. We had pizza and talked for a little bit. He's a nice guy. You know what I mean? That's what I like about this sport. It's not you don't have to hate everybody to fight.
No, you absolutely don't. I think you two are a great example of that. Now, the beard, you're in full fight preparation mode here with this beard. What kind of time goes into this one that we're sporting?
Well, actually, I trimmed this one up. I trimmed this one up a little bit.
This isn't at the max that we've seen from Johny Hendricks.
No. It takes about 3 months. It's pretty much as soon as I find out who I'm fighting, that's when I start growing it, and don't look back until the night of the fight. As soon as I'm done, I'll shave it off, But this one, I trimmed it up a little bit because I knew the Athletic State Commission here, they make you trim it up, so I wanted to make sure I had a good impression the first time I see him.
Was that an issue you had last time here against Kampmann? Did they make you trim it?
Yeah, they don't want some raggedy beard, and sometimes I do come in with a little raggedy beard. So, like I said, I want to keep the commission happy, and good relationships makes things smoother.
Is that an actual thing? Because I've always it seems like it's a myth to a lot of people that the beard, somehow shields anything from happening. I mean, is the beard really protecting you from much here, or is it just simply the commission is just, unsure of, maybe making it fair? I don't always understand the beard issue.
Well, I think they don't want some just raggedy beard. Like I said, just wild thing that I usually grow. They want it to look, clean shaved, or just a well-groomed beard. I think that's what they want. You know what I mean? It doesn't help protect anything. I wish it did. If it did, it'd be bigger. I'd never shave it. It actually helps stick a little bit, because we get to put Vaseline on our face, which hair absorbs everything. So every time I get punched, you can feel your hair's getting pulled. So I'm like, man, maybe I should shave before fights.
Watching the build up to this fight card, and you were there on the conference call last week with Nick Diaz. I mean, as a fighter yourself, what have you really taken away from these last 6 months? You're someone that has a very, very entertaining style. You've got your wrestling down pat, and Nick Diaz is in this position. I think a lot of people look at what the attention this guy brings to a fight. Has that altered anything for you, or do you kind of you're playing? You're not going to do anything that's kind of uncomfortable or not natural to you. But tell us about that mindset, because that is a part of the game we're learning more and more, is not just W's, but also, it's a business too.
Well, There you go. But also, you know, you got to let your fighting do the talking. You know what I mean? There's a certain point where, yes, you're trash talking or whatever you can provoke can help you out get something. But, you know, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit there and be like, I want my fighting to get me the fights. You know what I mean? I want people, because right now, how many people are like, man, I know Johny and Carlos Condit is going to be a boring fight.
No one's
Nobody.
that.
You know what I mean? How many people are probably saying that GSP Nick Diaz could possibly be another GSP ground and pound?
Sure.
Everybody, you know, so that's what I want, is I want to make sure that everybody is excited to watch me fight, not because I can run my mouth.
I'm also just curious as well. Looking ahead at this fight, and your wrestling. Do you anticipate that comes into play here, and or are you just going to keep everyone guessing because your hands have been doing a lot of the work as of late and impressing a lot?
Yeah, keep everybody guessing. You know, that's a skill that I have that nobody's seen. You know, and I like that. You know, this is one more fight. If I have to, I'll use it. You know, but then again, if I don't want to, because, you know, the guy who I'm going to be facing, good Lord willing, I win, then he hasn't seen my wrestling. He doesn't know my wrestling. You know, he doesn't know anything about me on the ground. And I like that. I like not, you know, if you train for me, your jiu-jitsu wise, how are you going to train? How are you going to train for me? You can't, because there's nothing on me. And that's what I like, is that unknown. And I would say the only thing I can say is my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu are better than my hands.
Sure. And I don't think I even have to ask you this. I imagine come July 6th, you're rooting for Chris Weidman to defeat Anderson Silva. I think any hopes, because that's what pretty much the consensus is. If the welterweight champion comes out of this, the only thing that could come in the way of this is the dreaded super fight that I think a lot of fighters don't want to hear at this point. Do you think that talk is kind of dissipated at this point? Because it seems that you get the win on Saturday. I cannot possibly see how you're denied a title shot.
There you go. That's the most important thing, is I'm focusing just on Carlos Condit. If I win, then after that, I'll explain, you know, I'll see what I feel or want. You know, I always root for a wrestler. You know, I like Anderson Silva as a fighter, but, you know, Chris is actually a tough dude. You know, he's a very talented fighter. So I always pull for the wrestler because I like to see him fight. And not only that, but if the super fight happens, hey, I don't care. My true goal is to be a UFC champ. You know what I mean? Of course, I'd like to try to dethrone GSP, but if he moves up, I'll still get an interim belt or maybe the real belt. Who knows? And so that's my mind frame. Is, you know, my dream comes first, and that's UFC belt.
Well, and our final question here for you is, I don't know how much of a professional wrestling fan you are, but in the WWE, there's a performer named Damian Sandow, and he has got a remarkable resemblance to one Johny Hendricks. You have got to see this guy and all his bearded best here. I've never seen the two of you at the same time, but Damian Sandow and Johny Hendricks, remarkable resemblance. And I know a lot of MMA fans are going to yell at me for bringing up this comparison here, but we wish you the best of luck going into UFC 158 is coming up this Saturday night. Johny Hendricks, Carlos Condit, an awesome fight that is coming up 10 p.m. Eastern on pay-per-view, so don't miss it.